So the question is, how do you build a sales engine that is not as reliant on the labor of other people? My belief is that the answer for you to grow your business, it's not about finding more sellers to do the same thing that you've been doing. You got to do something different, because the difference between the new furniture business and the used furniture business is that with used furniture, you're picking up items one at a time, and you're selling those items as you're picking them up. And the change with the new furniture is the cycle in which you're bringing in that furniture and then selling through it. So now, instead of picking up one couch at a time and then figuring out how to sell one couch, you picked up 48 couches all at once, and then you're trying to get rid of those 48 couches. You're never going to find an employee that is as motivated to sell and grow your business as yourself. And so, hey Alvaro, thank you for joining me on the Couch Coach. If you could introduce yourself, I think our viewers would enjoy that.
Hi, Charles. Nice to meet you. My name is Alvaro. I'm from Miami. I've been doing couch flipping over a year. I have a lot of questions for you. I want to grow my business.
Amazing. I think you came to the right place. Alvaro, where are you from originally? I think you told me that, you moved to Miami.
I'm from Venezuela.
Oh, so you came from Venezuela to Miami 2 years ago. So how did you find out about couch flipping?
A YouTube video. Continue seeing videos and more and more and more. Then I decided to try with one. When you realize that you can do it, what you see on the videos and do it yourself and get the first money. I remember I get a recliner and I flip it for 400 and was like, wow.
Absolutely. So it was the light bulb moment. You saw the videos and you're like, I think I can make money doing this. And then you picked up a leather recliner, first flip. Got it for $200, flipped it for $400. Nice $200 profit there. And you're like, okay, there's something here. I think that's a very similar story to what I hear from a lot of our flippers. So, all right. So now I want to dig a little bit into your financials so I can have a better understanding of, your journey in couch flipping up until this point and where you're at today. And then I know you have some questions around how to scale your business that I'd love to dig into with you today. So I can see in your spreadsheet that you started in September of last year. In that first month, you had about $6,445 in sales. And then your gross profit number is $5,535. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
You didn't have any expenses in that first month?
Yeah, that first month, I didn't do the expenses. I didn't control. So I just want to know how much I can make with the couches.
I see. Yeah. So you had expenses, but you just didn't write them down.
Yeah, I didn't take notes of any of my expenses.
Okay, understood. Now, and what does C/U under net profit represent?
Oh, I do this with a partner. When you see that, and the net profit is half and a half.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, understood. And so you had some pretty healthy numbers out of last year, but going into this year, I can really see that things started to take off for you. On average for your business, you're doing at least $10,000 a month in net profit. And I know that's, a goal for many of the flippers on our platform that we interact with. They want to be at that six-figure net income number. And you've been hitting that very consistently all through the year. And in fact, some months like July, you did $14,600 in net profit. In April, you did $14,450 in net profit. So you're in a pretty consistent spot with your net income numbers. So tell me where you think the business is at today, other than what I can see in the spreadsheet.
Our goal is at least to make 10,000 for each one. We work a lot. This is our full-time job. I want to know if I can grow this number. I can grow my business.
Understood. Okay, so let's just look at October. In October, between you and your partner, you sold 35 couches and you bought 41. So you're picking up 1 or 2 couches a day and you're selling 1 or 2 couches a day. Your total sales was about $34,000 and your gross profit was $20,470. After deducting all of your operating expenses, you were left with about $12,500 in net profit. And then that is being split 50-50 between you and your partner. And so your take home and your net income individually is about $6,000 per person. If we extrapolate that to the year, you guys are making about $60,000 in net income, flipping around 30 to 40 couches a month in your two-person business. So those are the numbers. Now, something interesting that I'm seeing in your spreadsheet is that you also have an area marked out for new sofas. So it sounds like you're flipping used couches, but you're also selling some new couches. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we got an opportunity to bring a new sofa, but I'm not really sure about it in this side. With the used sofas, it's been good, but I'm not really sure about the new stuff. What do you think about it?
When you bought these new sofas, is it like, do you have to buy a bunch all at the same time? Or do you buy one and they drop ship it? How does that work?
No, I have to buy all of them. We bring a full container.
I see. So you bought a full container of new furniture. Your total investment was 26,000?
Yeah.
Okay, 26,000 total investment, and this was 3 months ago. And how many units were in that container? How many sofas were in that container?
Well, 48.
48. And how many of those 48 have you sold in the past 3 months or 4 months?
We have been sold like 23.
23, about half. And then, but you have to pay to store those couches as well.
Yeah.
How much are you paying in storage for the new couches?
We have a warehouse, 1,700 feet. We pay 2,000 for that warehouse.
Total or each?
Yeah, total. So till now we're best like 33,000, and we are make on revenue like 20,000. So
understood. Yes, you've put in about 33,000 in investment into the new furniture business thus far. You've done about 20,000 in sales. You've done about 20,000 in sales. So you're still a far cry away from being profitable on the new furniture business. I mean, it sounds like to me the issue there is you didn't have enough distribution. Like your sell through is not fast enough, because the difference between the new furniture business and the used furniture business is that with used furniture, you're picking up items one at a time, and you're selling those items as you're picking them up. And the change with the new furniture is the cycle in which you're bringing in that furniture and then selling through it. So now, instead of picking up one couch at a time and then figuring out how to sell one couch, you picked up 48 couches all at once, and then you're trying to get rid of those 48 couches. So instead of having a smaller feedback loop, let's say, in your business that you're trying to close, that loop became very big all of a sudden. And I think the unanticipated issue there is that now it's just you're sitting on a bunch of inventory and it's taking up a bunch of space, and you're trying to figure out what to do with it. And it also sounds like to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that your profit margin on the new furniture is about the same, if not worse, than the profit margin on the used furniture. And that was surprising to you. Is that correct?
Yeah. Even it's low. It's low than the used.
What is your average profit margin on a used couch flip?
It changed a lot, but says 584 is the average.
Really healthy number, by the way. $584 gross profit. And then what is your average gross profit number on a new couch?
The new ones is like 300, 350.
About 350. Okay. How much are you buying your average used couch for?
The average cost is 447.
Okay. And then your average sale price, like let's say like 1,000, right? And then what was your cost per unit for the new couches? So the 48 couches you bought, what is the average purchase price per couch?
550.
550. And then you're selling it for about 800.
Yeah.
I see. That is an interesting problem there. So you have to think about what is the advantage to buying used inventory versus flipping a new couch, right? So why don't you tell me, like, when you got into flipping the new couches or selling new couches, what benefit did you think this was going to add to your business?
I think it will be less work. You don't have to clean it. You don't have to pick it up. You just have to receive them all, put it in a place, and take pictures and just sell it. But it doesn't happen like this. I thought I was going to sell like 2 months or 3 months, but it doesn't happen like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think your initial assumptions about why it would be beneficial to sell new furniture compared to used furniture fundamentally right. In that when you're buying new furniture, you have to go pick it up individually and you have to do some basic preparation, cleaning, staging, taking photos, and then all of that upfront work to get the inventory you don't have to do with new furniture, right? It's already clean. It's being shipped and dropped off to you all at once. Now, the problem that you're running into is that the sales numbers are just not where you thought they were. I think the whole benefit of getting into the new furniture game compared to used furniture is that it really comes down to the supply. Now, this is something that people complain about when it comes to flipping new used couches, is that couches basically sell themselves. You don't need to convince people that they need a sofa. They already know that they need sofas. And whether or not you can sell them one really comes down to, do you have what they're looking for at the right price, right? Do you have the available inventory? And so flipping used couches tends to be a supply constrained business model. People, flippers could grow their business more if they could solve the supply problem. But usually the limitation that they hit is relative to their market or the time that they have available. There aren't enough used couches to go around. And so this is the problem that buying new couches can help with, is that you stop running into these inventory limitations because instead of relying on the supply of used couches in the area immediately near you, you can start, like people are literally building new couches and sending them to you. So you don't have that supply issue anymore. I think the problem that you're running into, once again, is that you expected the sales of the new couches to be much faster and to be able to sell them at a higher price point. Sales are a little bit slower, so you don't have quite the sell-through that you wanted. The margin isn't as good. And for some reason, the demand isn't quite what you thought it would be. And you're sitting on a lot of inventory. So before I go any further, why do you think that is? Why is it that the sales have been slow with the new furniture compared to the used furniture?
I think it's all the 48 couches, it was one the same. So when you sell used sofas, you sell different. Every time you get a different one. Too many times you repeat some couches, but you sell maybe 3 the same per month. The big problem here it was sell 48 for the same.
And, this happens in a variety of domains, right? Where there's fatigue in the market. So for example, if I'm running a Facebook campaign, and I'm targeting an audience and I'm serving one ad to that audience. At first, that ad is probably going to perform pretty well. But over time, if I continue to target the same audience with the same ad, there's fatigue. They've seen that ad over and over and over. It just doesn't have the same impact anymore. So likely what happened when you introduce the new couches into your market is, hey, this is a couch that we haven't seen before. Right. And so there's like a certain amount of demand for this couch that existed in Miami. And at first, connected with people and the people that were interested in this kind of inventory, this style, this material, this size, etc. You found those people, you connected with them, and you started selling to them. And then over time, the market got saturated with these couches. Now everyone who was previously willing to buy the couch, they've already bought that couch. If you buy one couch of this style, you probably don't need another one, right? There's not a consumable product like carrots or something like that. So there's a set amount of demand. You tapped into that demand. And then over time, as you were successful with your sales, that demand has started to slow and it made it more difficult to sell through your couches. Now, the other side of this is very likely you haven't tapped into all of the available demand. So there are more people out there that might be interested in this kind of couch. Miami's a big city, but you're struggling to get in front of those people. So that leads me to question, what exactly is your distribution model, right? How are you finding customers? How are you making people aware that you have this inventory that is available to purchase?
Yeah, so the strategy that we use, we have several sellers on Marketplace and on OfferUp. So it's not like just me posting inventory. No, it's like 4, 5, 6 people and we pay per sale. That's why I think we can reach more people. One account maybe doesn't get all the attention. So we have like 5 different people posting on OfferUp, on Facebook, and also we have like 1,000 followers on Instagram, and we make a lot of sales over there. But I don't know how to get more sales, how more channels to sell.
Have you tried any advertising?
I do advertising by Instagram. I pay weekly advertising on my Instagram, like $50 to get local people. I got 1,000 followers, but all are local. All are people interested in get a couch. We do advertising with Instagram only.
I see. Yeah. So having 1,000 followers on your Instagram page, it's a valuable asset, especially if it's a targeted audience of buyers that are in your local market, like so people in Miami that are in the market for couches, and they're following you, and every time you post a new couch, they're seeing that. You know, you're saying you have some percentage of sales coming from the different profiles that are posting on Marketplace, but also that you're getting some good traction off your Instagram. Like, what is that split? How much of your business is coming from the groups, or coming from Marketplace? How much of your business is coming from Instagram right now?
Most of the sales come from Marketplace. I can tell like 70% come from Marketplace, and it's not even me. Right now, I don't even make sales anymore because I'm doing another stuff. I'm looking for the sofas. I'm talking to people to buy it and all into that thing. We have mostly our sellers are the most of the sales right now. And 15 or 20% come from Instagram.
Got it. And they're getting a commission, right?
Yeah. I pay like $50 per sale. Around that.
That's pretty good.
I'm wondering if I should bring more sellers. I don't know if that maybe a path that I don't know.
I don't know if that's going to help you. Well, okay. It certainly would to an extent, but there's going to be a diminishing return. And what that means is your investment will not scale linearly. So the value that you get out of your investment will start to drop off after a certain point. So instead of going like this, upward linearly, exponentially, it's going to go like this, like the value of your investment. So right now, with the number of sellers that you have, let's say for every dollar you put in, you're making $4. As you continue to scale that investment, instead of making $4 in the future, let's say you're only making $2, right? So after a certain threshold of dollars put in, the value of your investment will start to drop off. It's called a diminishing return. And the reason that's going to happen is you have multiple sellers in the same market posting the same couches. So if you have two people posting the same couches, then maybe if it's only one person, that couch is going to get in front of 1,000 people. And if you have two people posting that couch, now you get 700 extra people. But the first person reached 1,000. And the second person, let's say they also reach 1,000, but 700 of that 1,000 people were new. But there's this overlap of 300 people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The less sellers that you have posting the same couches, the smaller the overlap. But the more sellers that you have posting the same couches, the higher the overlap.
I understand that. I've been seeing all these videos and the people always say like, I sell all my inventory. I'm talking right now about the used. Forget about the new one. And doesn't happen to me. Sometimes a couch sit on my space like 1 month. I got plenty used inventory. What do you think about it?
So I think really different flippers have different bottlenecks in their business. Some people tell me the bottleneck I have is pickups. Like I don't have enough time in the day to go pick up the couches I need. Some people tell me the limitation in my business is storage. I can get the couches I need, but I don't have a place to put them. And if I can sit on inventory for a little bit longer, have more storage to store them, then I could make the sales I need. The problem that you're hitting with your business ultimately is distribution, because you have plenty of inventory, especially the new couches that are sitting in your warehouse. In addition to, you have a decent ability to pick up in the Miami area. It's a good market, right? Lots of inventory floating around there, but your sales are not happening fast enough. And I think part of the reason for that is you and your partner, Gilberto, have taken a step back from doing the sales yourself. And so now you have commission sellers that are, trying to sell your couches for you. And it looks like you have a couple of them, right? You have like maybe 6 or 7 of these people that are posting couches free and selling them. But 2 of them are doing most of the work. So this is the reality of most organizations, really, is that the actual power law rule here is that take the square root of the number of people in the organization, and they're doing 50% of the work in that company. So if the company is 100 people, 10 people are doing all the work. They're doing 50% of the work. In your case, you have like 6, 7 people doing the selling, 2 people are actually doing the work. These numbers are going to hold true. You're never going to find an employee that is as motivated to sell and grow your business as yourself. And so as soon as you step back from the operations, you have to expect that there is going to be a loss of productivity. This is something that I've dealt with in a variety of ways in the companies that I've run throughout the years, right? Is that my job as the entrepreneur is to go find the business model, identify a consistent set of processes that can be executed and repeated in a way that brings in profit into the business. So I find the model, and then I go find people to plug into that model. And whatever my productivity is in the initial phase of establishing the business model, I usually expect that productivity to drop off 20, 30% when I bring in an employee to replace me in that labor. So you're dealing with some of that, right? Is that the sales that you had in the past probably are not going to be as successful if you're relying on the labor of someone else who's just not as motivated as you. That's the reality. So the question is, how do you build a sales engine that is not as reliant on the labor of other people? Is the direction that I would start looking in for you. My belief is that the answer for you to grow your business, it's not about finding more sellers to do the same thing that you've been doing. You got to do something different. And it's for a variety of reasons, right? The first is that there's a diminishing return. The more people you have selling the same couches in the same area, the less effective that strategy is going to be. Because everyone's posting the same couch, and the audience that they're getting in front of, it's overlapping with one another. The other issue there is that you're just trying to maximize the same channel. And so there's not enough diversity in your strategy, and you're relying on the labor of other people who inherently are not going to be as motivated to make that as successful as you might be in the same position. So the question is, how do you get some of these other channels for distribution to start working? Instagram has been working for you. It could probably be doing better. You have 1,000 followers on your Instagram page. You pay about $50 a week. Is there a way to get that number to 1,500, 2,000, 3,000? Imagine a world in which your Instagram had 10,000 people following it, all in this like qualified targeted audience in Miami in the same way that the first 1,000 are. What would that do for your business if you had 10 times as many people following on Instagram? So that might be a goal, right? I want to get to 10,000 followers. The question is, how do you get there, right? Now you start digging into your ad strategy. What are we spending money on? Are we testing different things? Are we testing different ad types, different kinds of campaigns? Should we offer people an incentive? For example, you have all of the customers, you have hundreds and hundreds of customers that you've done business with in the past year. Have you sent them an email saying, hey, follow us on Instagram? Or, hey, if you had a good experience with us in the past, could you tell your friends or family to follow us on Instagram? If I were you, that's more the direction that I would start looking in, because you have a distribution problem. And I think the way that you solve that problem is not just to go find more sellers to post your listings on Marketplace, but to look outside of that. So A, it diversifies how you're distributing your couches, and B, it's not as reliant on human labor, because humans are fickle, right? You have to manage them, and their productivity, their output is not consistent. Things happen. They're bored at home one day, and the other day they're on vacation, or they're traveling, they're meeting buddies. Like, it's not as reliable as something that you can control. This is something that happened with Ivy Flip, actually. So, we started Ivy Flip almost exactly 1 year ago. We started this company November 8th of 2022. And aside from the changes in our technology, there's been a change in our distribution strategy. So at first, the way we would find customers is we would go to different markets in the US and we'd look at the Facebook marketplace listings and we'd try to figure out who are the couch flippers by looking at the listings. And you can tell because couch flippers, they'll say free delivery, they'll say financing, and they'll also have pictures of the couches in front of a storage unit. So at first, I did it, right? I would go look at the listings, I'd find the couch flippers, and I'd message them, hey, if you need help finding more couches to sell, I have a technology that might be able to help you. I built the model. Then I found people to replace me. So I started hiring salespeople to go message flippers through their listings. And that's how we initially grew our business. And there was a nice little uptick in sales that we had using that method. But eventually, we hit a wall. And the wall is that Facebook started limiting the number of messages that we could send, and we were running out of Facebook profiles. So at first, maybe we're sending a couple dozen Facebook messages a day. And then eventually Facebook was limiting us to something like 10 messages a day per Facebook profile. And so I simply could not just hire salespeople to go message through Facebook because Facebook was limiting how many messages I could send. And also there's just a limited number of couch flippers in the United States. And so there's only so many people that you could start messaging. And then the final issue was that I had to control the productivity of the salesperson. So I have to stay on top of them. Hey, are you, sending out as many messages as you should be? And their motivation is going to come and go, right? And so I have to stay on top of the salespeople and manage their productivity. If they're feeling really motivated one day, maybe they send a lot of messages. If they're not feeling as motivated another day, then they're not going to send as many messages. So my whole thing, part of the reason for the content, etc., is we knew we had to move away from the sales-based distribution model. We have to find another way of getting our product into the hands of couch flippers. And that's where a lot of this content strategy has come into play. So the first thing is we got rid of the sales team. And before, in order to try our product, you had to get on a call or a demo with a salesperson. They'd walk you through it, and then they'd probably close you on that call. So instead, now we have an app. You go download the app in the App Store. You get a free trial right away. You can try it for free 7 days. And then if you like it, you buy it. So now it's totally self-service. We just focus on driving traffic. And we do that through some marketing, the content that we're creating, the resources that we've created on our website, SEO, some advertising. So we just focus on the marketing. Now I don't have to worry about employees. What are my employees doing? I just have to worry about marketing, creating content. This is something that I can control. And Facebook is my best friend and my worst enemy at the same time because Facebook is taking all my money. But when I give Facebook my money, it does what I want it to do. I don't have to manage Facebook. I just have to pay Facebook. And so now we're selling our product. I don't talk to anyone, We don't sell our product. It sells itself. We just focus on making the best product possible, and we focus on the marketing. Now, there's probably something similar that I think you can do. The way that you got this far in your business over the past year is not necessarily the thing that is going to take you to the next level in this next year of business. So after listening to your story a little bit, that's probably the best advice I can give you is to start looking at what that next level up in the business is going to be, primarily focused on this problem of distribution. And I think growing your Instagram page is a great place to start, thinking about how do I get from 1 to 10,000 followers. I also think there's an opportunity with your website because you have a website. It's a very basic, e-commerce store. But when I look at your catalog of products, everything is sold out. You don't have any inventory on the website that anyone can buy. And so even if you're marketing your brand so fast, and you're building a brand, people know who you are in the Miami area. If they come to your website, they literally can't do business with you. So these are the channels that if I were you, I'd start looking at. And I think that's where your opportunity is.
Do you think I should work more on my website? Do you think that's the next step?
The low-hanging fruit, if I were you, build your Instagram. You already have 1,000 followers there. How do you get it to 2,000? How do you get it to 3,000? Right? You have probably emails and phone numbers for all of the customers that you've done business with. Contact them. Hey, if you don't mind, if you had a positive experience with us, maybe you can follow us on Instagram and tell your friends and family to follow us on Instagram. And if they follow us on Instagram, they buy a couch from us, we'll give you $50 and we'll give them $50, right? You do a little referral thing. You look at the ads that you have running already. You try different creatives. So there are probably a variety of things that you could do to grow your Instagram following. That's where I would start. And then I also think that there is an opportunity to improve your website, manage it more actively, and have that part also be part of your digital strategy. But the thing is, if I were you, I focus on one thing at a time. And with the website, there's an opportunity there. It's going to take you a little bit longer to get there, figure out what you need to do in order to make the website productive and successful. Whereas with the Instagram, it's already working. There's already potential there. So why not, start building on that success? It's already validated as, a strategy that can work for you. You just need to figure out how to get more. So that's if I were you, that's what I'd focus on in the immediate term. And then if that's working and you're getting more sales off your Instagram, you have a bigger following on your Instagram, figure out how to make the website work. Figure out how to make your email newsletter work.
Talking about the Instagram, do you think I should invest more money on it or just organic?
It's hard to say because I don't know exactly what your ad strategy is on Instagram and how effective that is for you. But I'll tell you, if you're spending $50 a week, that's $200 a month. That's not nothing. It's not like a huge ad budget. It's not inconsequential ad budget either. So I'd really look at how that money has been spent on advertising. What are your creatives? What are your ads? What are your calls to action? And I'd start testing there a little bit. So for example, if you've been running one ad for 6 months and you've never changed that ad, change the ad. Try some new stuff. If you really want to get good at the digital advertising, you got to experiment. And so every month, your goal should be to test maybe 1 or 2 new audiences and then 5 to 10 new creatives. And then you could up that budget to $500. So that's on the paid side. I would also think about a referral strategy. How do you get your existing base of customers to follow you and refer you new business? And then finally, maybe you can run a giveaway. I've seen giveaways be very successful on Instagram as well. Give away a couch. Think about it. If you're going to put $500 into advertising, why not pick up a couch for $200? You'd sell it for $800. You have a prize that's worth $800 and valuable to people in Miami, and say, hey, if you are interested in winning a free couch, we're going to give this away in 1 or 2 weeks. In order to participate in the contest, you need to like this post, follow our page, and tag 3 of your friends. So Alvaro, this is actually my time limit now. I have to jump onto another call. I do appreciate you jumping on with me today, sharing about your business. Hopefully you got some good ideas out of our conversation. And I'm excited to check back with you in a couple months to jump on the Couch Coach again. And I want to see if you've made some progress with your online marketing. And I want to see if that's had an impact for you and your business.
Thank you for taking the time to talk with me.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alvaro.